weekend racing. It's time to recap it. And who better to do it than Michael New Magic? Two bros/pros who cover the highs and lows of racing around the globe on every one of their shows. Real fans look forward to these guys and their last stunts, cause they know they're not talking out of their royal ascot. What they say makes sense. So ladies and gents, sit back and relax as Blinkers Off presents The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
And this is The Magic Mike Show, brought to you by Gray Under Armour shirts. Mr. Samich, how you doing today, bud?
I am doing well, my friend. I'm doing well. I love.
You seemed like 5 seconds into that theme song when we went live. It seemed like it just got a whole lot better for you.
Yeah, I got a little more excited, man. We had a good day today. I'm not gonna lie. We just did well in some Keeneland tournaments. Hit the pick 5 and the pick 6. About 10K out of Keeneland. So just setting it up for the weekend now.
Jesus. And I love how matter-of-factly you say that. So congratulations. That's awesome. We were talking right before we went live that you were live to a bunch of horses that were great for you. And the 7 was going to basically clear up everything, and you were going to become king of the world if the 7 won. You're still, sitting down, so I'm guessing the 7 didn't win.
No, the 1 won, which pays more in the pick 5 and the pick 6, which we'll take. And the Salma Bombs had 3 top pick winners and 4 must-use winners in the late pick 5 combo. So hopefully we have a bunch of people who hit that for $3,000. And then the pick 6 paid $6,500, something like that. So yeah, we'll definitely take it. And I think I'm okay in the tournaments with that one. So yeah, great way to close out the Keeneland card. And hopefully everyone who got the Salma Bombs cashed in.
That is congratulations to you and anybody who bought the Salma Bombs. So last Saturday, swept the Keeneland card at not too bad. And then today, pretty good at Keeneland. So the shitty thing is, Mike, we were all set to go to Keeneland for Magic Mike Show 263. And then Dr. Miranda, the resident Keeneland expert for the Racing Dudes team, told me that 90% chance of thunderstorms on Saturday. So we're over at Oaklawn, where there is no turf racing. At least I think they're going to be off turf on Saturday. But it is the Arkansas Derby Day card, so even though it looks like this sequence could go a little chalky, we think there are some price plays, and overall, this day brings out a lot of great horses to Oaklawn, Mike.
Yeah, we get to talk about a couple really fun races. I'm really excited about the sprint race that we're going to talk to. It's got a couple different ways you could go in that race. And there's we're going to talk CZ Rocket and Whitmore again, so a little East Coast, West Coast, banging heads with 2 of our favorites. We got Strike Power in there, and No Parole in there, who's coming off a turf effort that was kind of a dud. So that's an awfully fun race. And then we get to talk about whether we think Concert Tour can win or we want to bang our head against the wall. So that'll be a fun one as well.
Yeah, I'm excited. Before we get there, Mike, I know you just talked about the Keeneland thing. I'm guessing there's another thing that's a little bit better that you saw this week.
I was going to go with the Keeneland thing, but the best thing I saw, I got my plane ticket or my boarding pass today, and I just lit up when that thing came out. I have not traveled in so long, and I'm so excited to be able to get back on an airplane and head to Keeneland for the weekend. I've never been there. Of course, it's raining on Saturday, obviously, but I cannot wait to get on this airplane tomorrow and get to Lexington, Kentucky.
That is awesome. You're going to be at Keeneland on site. Dr. Miranda is going to be there on site. So if you're going to Keeneland, make sure you bring an umbrella and some galoshes, and then hit up Mike and Dr. Miranda and see if you can have a little drinky, a little bet on the horses, a little talk. It'd be a lot of fun. So I'm jealous about that. Best thing that I saw, I had to write it down because I knew I was going to forget. Speaking about Keeneland, is this horse yesterday that ran, named Pocket Square. Did you see this? Have you heard about this?
I know Pocket Square. Yeah, that horse went huge.
4-year-old Chad Brown makes her first start of the year. And Chad Brown, we had talked about this a lot, especially at the big meets, so Gulfstream and Keeneland so far, really hadn't been doing well. Yeah, he was great at Aqueduct, he was great at Tampa, but for his stock, he should be. Finally brings a horse to Keeneland that looks like it's going to be a star. And this is the first horse that really looked like she had that Chad Brown classic turf filly and mare kick, where when she needed to go, man, boom, she kicked it into high gear. So that was great. Jared Welch was the one who alerted me to it. I had missed it, and I watched the replays like that. That is a Chad Brown filly and mare turfer that is going to go to New York, win some stakes races. So stable her up. Pocket Square, she's British bred, Juddmonte homebred. She was a Group 3 winner at Deauville in France, which is one of the major circuits there, at H2. So she's got a lot of ability. Hasn't quite had the chance to put it all together, but I really think she's going to have a really big year. And again, it's because this is the first Chad Brown horse that has looked like a Chad Brown horse on turf. So I loved her. I'm excited. What did you think about her?
She ran huge. I mean, she walked home and beat a very good field. So it'll be interesting to see how she progresses moving forward here. I got to say, I think Chad Brown's going to have a pretty good Keeneland meet. I mean, we had this Gulfstream. We talked about Chad Brown a lot here, especially at Gulfstream Park. That turf course was not playing to closers at all. I don't want to be anywhere. I don't want to be on the lead at Keeneland at all. You can be sitting in that second or third spot and you have a shot, but man, the people coming from the back have had a pretty big advantage so far in just a couple weeks that we've been running over at Keeneland. So right now, I think that it sets up for these Chad Brown IRAD horses that are getting, 22, 23 and change, and then they're kind of trying to fly home late, and they're getting the pace set up, and you have this long Keeneland stretch. The ground is good, which means it's favoring these Europeans that Chad Brown has. It kind of all is lining up, and you need to be off the pace right now at Keeneland. So everything is setting up for Brown to have a big weekend. Irad's riding his eyeballs out too. And so I would be surprised if Brown does not have a good Keeneland meet.
The only thing surprising to me about her winning is that Joel Rosario wasn't aboard. And, if it was a stakes, then Rosario would have been aboard, because it seems like if you want to win a stakes at Keeneland, you got to either put him or Luis Saez in the saddle. So
he's not going to be there on Saturday.
He's not, actually, because we're going to be talking about Joel Rosario when we go to Oaklawn, which is the perfect segue, Mr. Samich. On today's show, we're looking at the late pick 4 sequence at Oaklawn Park, including the Arkansas Derby and the Count Fleet Sprint Handicap. And then at the very end of the show, Griffin Wasik, I see you in the chat. Mike is going to give out any good hockey plays he has for you at the end of the show. Stick around. Let's get into it, Mike. Riders up. All right, Mike, first race we're going to look at Oaklawn Park on Saturday, April 10th, race 10 on the card. Got a nice field of 9 3-year-olds, 8 colts, 1 gelding, going 6 furlongs at Oaklawn. And, Mike, things get a little tricky at Oaklawn because of the track configuration. You're either doing 6 furlong sprints or you're doing mile and 16th. You really you got to be really fast to have that 6 furlong speed here. I don't know where you want to go on top. The 7 Mighty Mischief is the 2-1 favorite. Looks really strong in his 2 starts. Buyers both 81-80, looking very strong against the rest of this group. But I don't know. This first time facing winners. Do you have the faith to play him on top in this spot?
I do, and I'm actually going to go pretty short in this leg. I mean, we talked about this before the sequence. This has a possibility of paying like $15 for the 50-cent pick 4. With Concertorian here and with a couple other good favorites, you could definitely see a pretty cheap pick 4 payout. I do like the 7 on top here. I think Mighty Mischief makes a ton of sense. I'm going to play a $5 ticket and a 50-cent ticket. My 50-cent ticket's only $30. The $5 ticket's actually $40, so it's going to cost a little bit more to play the $5 ticket than the 50-cent ticket. I'm going to go too deep in this leg on both of those tickets. Look, Mighty Mischief, this is Asmussen, Santana, and it's Oaklawn. Younger horses, sprinting. This is what he does very well. I take shots at Asmussen all the time, especially on turf, especially at other tracks. But he's kind of the king of Oaklawn, and I'm not crazy enough to try and go against him here. He's got 2 in this field. He's also got the 3-horse Invincibility with Flow Up. Because of that, I'm not singling, but I'm not going to the 3-horse Invincibility. My second pick is actually going to be the 5, Upstriker. Look, I was talking to Aaron. He told me about how Talamo does well here against this colony. This horse ran an 81 bio when breaking its maiden for Ron Marquette back in August of 2020. We haven't seen this horse yet in the 3-year-old campaign. Was good enough to go to the Breeders' Cup Futurity and then the Nyquist. This is kind of the stepping off point. But look, Marquette is 15% off a 61 to 180-day layoff. And I really like these works that this horse has gotten under him. The last 2 especially have been very good. If you look at that 2 back, he bulleted a 4 furlong work and 47 flat. I think this horse is going to show plenty of speed. I think he has the ability to stalk and close, which is exactly what he did when breaking its maiden. We know the horse can fire off the bench because it won first time out. I like that 8-1 price. I think that's a little bit of value there on the 5 Upstriker.
So we're going to agree on that. Those were my top 2 choices. I went 3 deep, but those are the top 2 that I used as well. You brought up great points on them. One thing I'll kind of touch back on again, with this being Arkansas Derby Day at Oaklawn, this is the day when the connections are aiming to try and win. It's like Florida Derby Day at Gulfstream Park, right? That's the day when all the big horses come out. The allowance races are basically overnight stakes. The grade 3s could be a grade 1, which we'll talk about in a minute. And so the reason that's important, if you know who Steve Asmussen, some of his best clients are, you'll know that Bill and Corrine Highlandbrought, who bred and owned the 7 Mighty Mischief, it's one of his best owners. He would not bring this horse back after breaking its maiden just on March 19th, so just a few weeks ago, and put him right back in this test if he didn't think he was capable of doing it. So I love that angle with him, and I think you could say the same with 5, at least in the sense that Ron Moquette, as you said, is really great at Oaklawn, is a local. Brereton Jones, who bred and co-owns the horse, is a former governor of Kentucky, I believe, but is very big into horse racing and very big at Oaklawn. So those two connections specifically in this race, I think you really got to look at.
Yeah, I mean, they both make a ton of sense. I did consider 2 other horses here. The 2-horse Game Day Play, I thought makes a little bit of sense coming out of the Brett Calhoun barns. Horse is exiting a stakes race, ran in the Grade 3 Blacomet, 3 back. Brain fart. 3 back. And that was just too long of a race. This horse does not want to be going 2 turns. It wants to be sprinting. I like the fact that we sprinted twice off that. We had enough belief in this horse to go run in that stakes at Oaklawn Park, and now we're cutting back to an optional 75K. So I think Game Day Plan fits as well. I like the 5 and the 7. I didn't want to spread too much here and balloon up that 50-cent ticket in case this thing does chalk out. I think the 3 Invincibility is also a little interesting. I mentioned him earlier. It's the other Asmussen here. You got Flo. You got 5-1 on the morning line. Those are the 4 horses I looked at, but for me, it really came down to just the 5 and the 7.
The 2 I left off, but I did give a look at the 2. I'm actually the last one I'm going to use is the 1. I'm going to the rail horse here, is my last horse on the ticket, and it's because he is a 3-year-old son of Munnings. Munnings very fast. He's on the rail. This horse has improved a little bit each time. Finally gets the maiden broken last time out in the 6th start, but he's hit the board in his last 5. If you forget his debut, when anything can happen with a horse, he's hit the board 3 seconds, by the way, in those 5 starts since then. He's also, his buyers took a big jump when he turned 3. He also started adding Lasix, which I think is a big angle. Martin Garcia has done an excellent job since he left California, came to Oaklawn Park. This is not a huge barn that does a lot of success, but 25 starters, 5 wins for the James DeVito barn, and he does really well with Garcia in the saddle, who's ridden this horse and finished either 1st or 2nd in 3 starts. So I'm going to use him. I really think that the 7 Mighty Mischief could be something special, but I am going to use the number 1, Name Rejected. I also love that name. I kind of want to know the rest of the story on that one.
I assume the first name they put in was Rejected, and that's why we came back with Name Rejected. My next one in. I thought about this horse as well. I'm worried that we've seen the progression from this horse. I mean, you had those 3 starts, so 3rd time out, you saw the best angle. I did circle this one and write, if it rains, use. So I do think if it rains, Munnings obviously takes a step forward over a sloppy track. So if it does end up raining in Oaklawn, I think the 1 is usable in that case.
Perfect. All right, we're going to have to move on. My other computer froze, so we're going to move on to the second leg of the late pick 4 sequence here, Mike. Race 11 on the card. This is the Grade 3 $500,000 Count Fleet Sprint Handicap, field of 7 males, 4 and up, going 6 furlongs on the track. But listen, all anybody cares about here, we got Whitmore versus CZ Rocket. Round 2, light them up. CZ Rocket got the jump on Whitmore last time out. Looked like Florent Giroux outrode Ricardo Santana Jr., which is not easy to do at Oaklawn Park. So what do you do here? Do you use these 2 and just move on? Do you try and get cute, use someone else? What are your thoughts?
I'm going to get cute. I don't have either on top. So we'll just start out right there. Look, I think this race sets up shockingly well for strike power. So the 4-horse gets Rosario up for Asmussen. This is 3rd off the layoff. This horse ran a huge number last time out. I think that strike power can back that up. No Parole is going to set a nice pace on the inside. I think strike power is going to sit right outside on his flank and be able to roll by. And they're going to have to catch strike power in the lane. I think that could be pretty tough to do here going 6 furlongs. Strike power is a horse that has run 6.5, 7 furlongs, even a mile in his career and done well. So the 6 furlong distance, he's not going to come back to him. They're going to have to go get him. And because of that, I like strike power at 5-1 here. I think it's a nice price. He's one of my 2 must uses and one of the 2 make the $5 ticket. Did you end up using strike power, or is that one you left off?
I did. So you and I actually went in full agreement here. We used the 2 favorites, the 2 big horses, but we also used strike power, and it's because of that last out. That's what really caught my effort or my attention. Got a 101 buyer speed figure for beating horses allowance optional claimers over this course and distance. Yeah, Ricardo leaves for Whitmore, but the horse just won the Breeders' Cup Sprint. Yeah, you kind of, I would take Whitmore too. But that time that when he finished that race by 3.5 lengths, so therefore he's not being pushed to the limit, was 0.13 seconds faster than CZ Rocket and Whitmore in the hot springs. Like that, he was faster without being pushed than those 2 horses rallying from off the pace to catch horses. So I think that this is a huge angle, and I think you nailed it, Mike. I think he's going to sit just off of the pace. There's a lot of pace here. If it folds, and it should, Joel Rosario in town. I told you we were going to talk about him. He's going to be right there to pick up the pieces, and we're going to get better than 5-1, right? Because CZ Rocket Whitmore in here, 5-1, it's going to go up.
Yeah, I think so, and I think No Parole is the speed horse is going to get bet. So I think that's going to even add more value to it. And look, you mentioned the times. Additionally, the track variant was slower for strike powers time. So the track was playing slightly slower that day than it was when CZ Rocket and Whitmore romped over 6 furlongs at the same track 2 days later. I think No Parole is going to take the money, so I think strike power is the one that's going to float up from that 5-1 number, like you said. I am going to use Whitmore back. I think I like Whitmore more than CZ Rocket. I like Whitmore more than CZ Rocket that day. And when you see what they came back with and the numbers they ran, CZ Rocket's just that consistent, 97, 97, 96, 97, 98. Keep running those same numbers. Whitmore's 97 is low for him. That last race was not his best effort. Second off the layoff, I expect him to come back better. I realize CZ Rocket is second off the layoff as well, but he's just kind of a consistent horse. You haven't seen that buyer jump when you come back. So I'm expecting Whitmore to take a step forward, CZ Rocket to be flat, and I think that means it sets up for either the 2 Whitmore or the 4 strike power to win this. I will use CZ Rocket on the 50-cent ticket just because I'm going to try and beat Concertor next. I don't want CZ Rocket to win, Concertor to lose, and me end up out of the ticket.
Listen, and you kind of answered the next question I was going to ask. If you were going to use 2 out of these 3 horses, so say someone's going, Mike, you say you can't take the 2 shortest prices in short field because there's no value. So I want to take one or the other. I am leaning towards Whitmore because not only was he second off the layoff and needed a little bit of juice to get going, not juice, sorry, he needed to get back into shape. Remember, Oaklawn Park. So, yeah, exactly. Oaklawn had that really bad winter storm. All the horses that were training there couldn't train. Whitmore didn't ship out. He just had to shed row walk for a while. So CZ Rocket was theoretically a lot fitter going into the hot springs than Whitmore, and I think maybe that's partially why he was able to catch him. I think if you wanted to use only one of them, you go with Whitmore. Do you agree?
Yeah, I'm playing a $5 ticket, and I'm going 2-4. I'm leaving the 6 off the $5 ticket where I'm singling Concertor, and I'm going to use Whitmore and strike power, and that's it on the $5 ticket because I think Whitmore, you have a bunch of reasons why this horse improves. I think CZ Rocket, you're going to get the same effort. It's a hell of an effort, but I think there are 2 horses in here that are better than him that have the ability to run better than him. He could still win, don't get me wrong, but I feel like he'll run the same race. And I think there are 2 horses, maybe even 3, that could run a better race than him. And that's, the 2 and the 4, I think, are the most likely candidates to do so.
We'll see what happens. It's going to be an exciting race. Speaking of exciting races, Mike, let's move on to the third-legged late pick 4 sequence at Oaklawn Park on Saturday, April 10th. Race 12, the Grade 1 $1 million Arkansas Derby, and probably the least exciting field top to bottom that I've ever seen in my 5 years of covering racing. But this one definitely has the horse that you and I just a few days ago, Mike, said is our Kentucky Derby pick. That is the 5 Concert Tour, the even money morning line favorite, Willie the Janitor. I'm so sorry. That is one of the worst morning lines you've ever posted, and you've had some doozies. That horse is going to be, 1 to 5 at best because he's facing all horses that he just beat in the Rebel Stakes. So do you single him or do you try and find a little value?
Yeah, I will book 7-2 on Cattle River right now if anyone wants it. That seems nutty to me after how he just demoralized that horse last time out. Yeah, look, Concertor is the best horse, probably the best 3-year-old in America. People, trainers legitimately dodged this race because they knew Concertor would be here. It's going to take something for Concertor to get beat. I'm singling Concertor in the $5 ticket. I do see one scenario where Concertor goes down, so I'm going to go too deep in the 50-cent ticket and see if I can pull a miracle, pull a rabbit out of my hat, and get someone else home. Are you singling Concertor? You trying to beat him? What are you thinking?
So we're each going to try and beat him or get some value. We're using different horses.
No, I love it. Okay, so when I looked at this race and I looked at Concertor, I'm like, how do you beat Concertor? What needs to happen for this horse to go down? I think you need to get hook 'em horns on the front end, and you need Concertor and Cattle River to go nuts. And I think that Cattle River will go nuts this race. I think if you're Asmussen, you tell Flo, get the lead. Just do it. Because if you're Asmussen, you also have Super Shock on the rail, who's a closer. And
Cox trains Cattle River.
No, I'm sorry. If you're Cox, you're sending that horse 100%, and you're making sure that he just goes against Concertor. Because look, you tried to chase him last time, and you had 0 chance of going by. Right? I mean, 0 chance. So I don't see how you don't send if you're Cattle River. To me, that means it sets up. And if you're Concertor, you're not backing down. Right? So if those 2 hook up, that's how Concertor loses. And if those 2 hook up, I want the horse who I think is probably the best closer in the race. I'm going to go the other Baffert. I'm going to use the 3 as my second horse. So I think it's going to be coming from off the pace and has a legit shot at catching Concertor if Cattle River softens him up enough.
Listen, I'm with you that I think there is a scenario in which Concertor gets beat, and you outlined it, and that's why I'm using the 2 Cattle River. I think that Cattle River has a strong shot to upset him, and I will tell you, Mike, what you said you think is going to happen is what Brad Cox has actually said should happen, is that Florent Giroux is going to be told, go. Don't wait, don't sit, don't look around, go. And who's the best jockey in America at doing that? Florent Geroux. So that's why I'm going to use it. I was all set to single Concert Tour because, as Michael Myers says, Rosario's going to have to fall off the horse for him to lose, basically. Caddo River had a really nutty trip. It was one of those things where Brett Cox went, I don't know what happened, but we're going to send him back. So the fact that he comes back here and is saying, now we know what to do, which is go. He's not the 6-5 favorite of a Concert Tour, so Concert Tour's price is going to be a lot worse. But that's why I am using him, and I think that he just ran way too bad to believe last out. Like, he was so bad and so out of it last time. I'm going to forgive him and play him here. But if you think that Concert Tour is going to win this backwards, by all means, single him.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I don't think he ran that bad to believe last time. I think that's my biggest difference.
You just think he's that bad?
I think he has a style where he needs the lead, and I think he faced a horse that is a monster compared to him. And Concert Tour ate his heart and spit it on the ground as he faded. Like that to me is kind of what happened here. And so you're facing that same horse who I think just towers over Caddo River. Caddo River will probably get the lead, but Concert Tour will be breathing down his neck. And if they end up going 23-1, 45-4, Caddo River ain't holding. I'll tell you that much. Concert Tour may. Caddo River is not. And if they do that, it sets up for either the one or the three. And I like Hoosier more than I like Superstock. So I'm going to go with the 3 as my other one, who I think can pick up the pieces. And look, you want to talk a little about Hoosier? Horse runs at 58 Beyer, runs an 84 his second start, breaks his maiden, comes back, runs a good second and an 87 Beyer against Concert Tour. You could logically say the horse could take a step up to the low 90s. And if he does that and the 5 and the 2 burn each other up on the front end, the 3 is a logical horse to pick up the pieces.
And you also have the quote-unquote other Baffert angle going for you as well. And you might look at this and say, well, 3-1, there's no value on Hoosier. Again, Concert Tour, he's not going off at even money. You're going to get some value on Hoosier. Even if it's 3-1, that is a value injected 3-1. Because remember, a lot of people in these pick 4s, pick 5s, this is a single, and this is the most likely single. Most likely single. And that's why you're hearing Mike and I try and beat him. We'll move on to the 4th and final leg, Mike, because I think we got some really good prices to look at here. Race 13 is going to close us out. You got a field of 11 maiden 3-year-old colts, all of them still intact for now. We'll see what happens after the race. Going a mile and the 16th on the track. The favoritism is on the number 4 Ardenwood at 7-2, and then just behind him at 9-2, the 5 Anti-Gravity. The 8 Sakil. Boy, this is an interesting mix here. I have an 8-1 horse on top, but before I talk, I'd love to hear where you're going.
I'm going 6-1 on top. Now, I think this is just ripe for an upset here. I'm going to go to the rail. I'm going to play the 1 horse, Colonial Coins. This is one of those angles that I love. 2 sprints to a route. Talk about it all the time. Calhoun sending this horse out. Size picking up the ride. Gabe Size, that is. I like that last work, the 47-4. This horse has shown speed in a race where I just don't see that much pace pressure. I mean, you've got the 3 horse, which is coming out of 2 sprints to a route as well from Marquette, adding blinkers. So you would assume that horse shows, but Rosario is also on that horse. And Rosario isn't exactly known for gunning it. So I think Saez guns it from the rail, gets the lead. We're going to the short wire. I think the 1 horse has a good shot at upsetting at 6-1. It's going to be one of my 2 horses on my $5 ticket. The other one I'm going to go to is actually the 7 horse, Nordic Fighter. So this is the Asmussen horse. You get Santana up. You'll notice I kind of like these horses at Oaklawn, especially when they're in the maiden special weight level. Second time going 2 turns. First time out, this horse debuts at Fairgrounds. It doesn't really run that much, but it was bumped at the break. It kind of had a weird trip if you go back and watch the race. I'm going to say that this horse takes a pretty big step forward second time out. It's a son of Medla de Oro, homebred that I think is going to run pretty big here. And I like that 6-1 price. If the pace does heat up, this is the type of horse I think could take a big time step forward and come from a little bit off the pace second time out. So for me, it's the 1 and the 7 on top, but I am going to spread and use 5 horses here in the 50-cent play.
Yeah, so you and I you're spreading, I'm spreading, I'm going 6 deep, and 5 of them are your 5. So we'll go through this quick. I will try not to reiterate too much. I love the 1 Continental Coins. There's a few horses here. Again, I talked about earlier that Oaklawn's got a very unique track configuration where you're either going 5.5, 6, or you're going mile on the 16th. So you see horses like the 1 Continental Coins, like the 3 Reserve, my top pick, who are very clearly built to be route horses. You look at the breeding. The 1 is by Constitution out of a Dixie Union mare. The 3 Reserve is by Tiz Now out of a Distorted Humor mare. These are distance horses who have just been prepping and getting some races under their belt. The 3 Reserve is my top pick. You're getting Joel Rosario board. I agree with you. He's not going to gun. I think the 1 Continental Coins is going to be your leader. 3 will sit back a little bit. But this is Rosario, this is Moquette. We talked about how the connections aim for these big days. He's adding blinkers, which I love here because it's a positive move for Moquette. It's 17% first time, 15% overall, just adding blinkers. Sprint to route, 19%, almost a positive ROI. And the horse that beat reserve last time out, well, that was the Mighty Mischief, a horse that we just talked about a few races ago being our top pick to win the opener here. So good back class with this horse. The 1 Continental Coins, I think, is a great one to use. And you also touched on the 7 Nomadic Fighter, also made my ticket. I like the fact that this horse debuted at 8.5 furlongs at Fairgrounds. Asmussen went, this is a route horse. There's nothing on the books at Oaklawn anytime soon. We'll get him going at Fairgrounds, get that under his belt. You don't bet horses trying 2 turns for the first time in their life when they're debuting like that. But you talked about it, Mike. The breeding is there. I think now second time routing, he's not going to be surprised or scared. So a good angle there. And hey, look, we're getting Ricardo Santana Jr. to ride for the first time. And he's not riding the 10, another Asmussen horse who I didn't use and neither did you.
No, you hit all the points on the 3. That's going to be the third horse I used. It's again that two sprints to a route. And you mentioned Mighty Mischief, name rejected also. A horse we discussed a little bit earlier was the horse that beat him in the first one. And both times, reserve showed speed and then faded back. So to me, 2 good races that he's coming out of. He's going to adding blinkers. He's going to be forwardly placed. I hope that Rosario actually sits outside of Continental Coins versus challenging him for the lead, and you get that kind of Rosario push on the way home. But we'll see how it sets up. To me, the price here was the 11 horse. Time is yours. All the way on the outside for Kelly Von Hemel. Look, I like Not This Time horses. They've been running well. This is going to be second time out, something that Von Hemel does well, clicking off at 18%. Ran a nice workout right before the debut, bulleting out of the gate in 59-4, then didn't get off well in the actual race. So I'm saying that because of that slow step early, Time is Yours was pretty much out of the race. You draw a line through it. You take out what you can from it. You get the experience. You get Talamo. You get 15-1. I think this horse is going to be a lot better. And I think the extra distance is going to be a big factor as well. I like when you go that 6 furlong and then immediately stretch it out. The plan all along was this horse to go 2 turns. I think you're going to see a lot better effort out of the 11. Time is Yours, 15-1 in the morning line.
Mike, one of the first things I remember you teaching me on the measurement, not the first thing you tried teaching me, one of the first things that stuck was to know when you're not the smartest person in the room. And technically, yes, I am the only person in this room of the house. But when I consider the room being the Racing Dudes team as a whole, I'm not the Oaklawn expert. You're good Oaklawn. You're not the Oaklawn expert. Who is? Aaron Halterman. Who is Aaron Halterman good friends with? The Von Hemel family. Who really likes the 11 horse besides you and I? Aaron Halterman. I think that tips off a lot. I mean, a 15-1 shot is one of Aaron's 4 picks in this race. I don't even care where. When he puts a Von Hemel horse in a spot like that, in a race like this, within his top 4, man, it really catches my attention. I texted him about that, and he just kind of laughed and shrugged back. So I love that you got to this horse on your own. I pretty much just went, well, Aaron's a genius compared to me, at least. Yeah, why not? I'm going to use this horse. But you guys brought up great points. I really like, too, that there's no desperate drop. We don't run away. He gets one work, and Kelly goes, yeah. I mean, he looks like he did in his last workout. He just screwed up the break. So a cleaner break here. Not this time out of a Ghost Zapper mare. Mile and a 16th all day for him.
Yeah, I think you wanted no part of 6 furlongs. And when you start off slow, that makes it impossible for that horse to really run well. And so I think that because of that, you'll get every bit of that 15-1, especially with some of the other horses in here and no really big time favorite. I think the 11's got a legit shot here going 2 turns. Going to have to work out a trip because it might be a little wide in that first turn, which is the biggest concern here. So if we can sit mid-pack, maybe 2 wide, that would be ideal for the 11 horse. Last one in for me, oh, be a boy, it's going to be the 8 horse. Daniel Pitts is bringing this horse in. You get a big rider upgrade. So for me, that's the big difference here. You're going from Rocco all over to Flo. I think that's a nice step forward. The Buyers fit here. 3 back, we run the 77, going a mile and an eighth, just miss. I don't love this horse. It was the last horse on the total ticket for me, but I didn't want this horse to be the one that knocked me out. I'm leaving off 2 horses we should probably talk about, but I'll let you kind of finish out your ticket, and then we can talk about 2 of the favorites that I'm not using, that I'm not sure if you're using or not. Yeah.
No, this is great. I'm so disappointed you didn't try. You're not even going to try and say the 8's name?
I would go with Squeal, but I'm not sure if that's accurate.
I think I pronounce it Sakil, like Shaquille, but with a S instead of a sh. So Sakil, I don't know. It's the Shadwell stables. The horses, they all have the Middle Eastern names that are sometimes interesting to try and pronounce when you're Mike and I. The reason I like the 8 is because of the jockey change to Florent Giroux. And we just talked about what is Flo good at is getting a horse out of the gate quickly, especially when you're not expecting it. What is Sakil's line every race? He's really slow and he's really far behind horses. The best race that this horse was run was 3 back at Churchill Downs routing. Got a 77 Beyer, misses by a neck. A big reason that was his best race, look at how close he was early. That's the only time anybody's ever gotten this horse to get up there early. If anybody can get on him and say, you're running a lot faster than your lazy ass wants to in the first quarter mile, it's going to be Florent Geroux, and that is why I love to use him here. Also, some pretty decent back class. The horse that beat him by a neck in that race I mentioned, Leblon, went up to be compete in stakes races. Otto the Legend beat him last time out, went to the Santa Anita Derby. Didn't run very well, but they thought enough of him to go right from that race into a grade 1. So plenty of good back class here for Sakil. All right, let's talk about the 2 favorites that we haven't. One of them I'm using, one of them I'm not. The 4 Ardenwood I am using. This is the last horse on my ticket, so it's funny. The 8 was your last on, the 8 and the 4 are the last 2 for me. Last time out, chases the gate to wire winner. Never got close, but that horse really never came back to him. And with being a mile, the finish line is the 16th pole at Oaklawn Park, so no chance in hell. I'm okay with that here because now we're going a little longer and we have horses who are going to be on the lead, we're expecting going sprint to route, who've never tried routing. They're bred to route. We don't know if they'll route. So there's a chance that you could have the one horse hit a wall late. And the 4, if he sits that same trip he did last time, is going to be there to capitalize. He didn't show any kind of kick, so there's not like he's going to stalk and then pounce. He's kind of one pace. He's kind of like Tiz the Magician. He needs, if somebody gets in front of him, you're going to have to come back for me to be able to get you because it just doesn't have that really strong kick. But he also has the best last out Beyer speed figure of 77 of anybody in the field. Clearly routing isn't an issue for him. I used him. I did not use the 5 Anti-Gravity, who was making up some ground on him in that last race. And a big reason for me, Mike, this feels like he's an 0 for 8 maiden. We're getting to the point where he's going to be a lifetime maiden if Jerry Hollendorfer doesn't either give him some class relief at a smaller track or drops him in for a tag. This horse was a $4,000 purchase that Hollendorfer co-owns. So I think at some point, put him in for a higher price tag and give him some chance here.
I mean, they've cashed $44,000 in 8 races, so it's not so bad for a $4,000 purchase if you look at it that way. The horse likes hitting the board, doesn't like winning. And that last race, I mean, the 4 horse got a 77 Beyer in that race, but they came home slow. I mean, we're talking 26 seconds for the final quarter of a mile.
Ooh, yep.
And we're going another 16th of a mile here. I mean, they were stumbling home. And when you're stumbling home like that, I want no part of you at 7-2 as a morning line favorite and what I believe is a pretty wide open maiden special weight race. And look, this 4 horse is just one of those. I don't think he's actually passed a horse that's running fast. You're right. He's kind of a plotter, right? He's just that one-paced horse. He passes the horses that are running slow around him. But if someone's actually moving forward or moving quickly, he's not passing them. And I don't see him being able to get by all of these horses and have no one catch him. And then, on the 5, I mean, you look back at that Keeneland race on October 24th, it looked like this horse was really taking a step forward. Hidden Stash beats him, who we've been in a bunch of stakes races since then. But the horse had the lead in the stretch, ended up losing by 3, has not really done much since. I mean, I think that these are 2 good play against horses I think are going to take quite a bit of money and will help you get some value here in the last leg of the pick 4 or the pick 5.
I really wanted to try and use the 6 Mr. Snickers, but that is entirely because I love Snickers candy bars. This horse is 30-1. I don't want any interest, at least as far as a win bet goes. It seems to be working well, and be honest, Toes just yesterday had a 3 furlong work and 34 flat from the gate. But this seems like a really tough test, especially with the class that some of these horses have. So I don't want a first-time starter here, not like that.
If there weren't 2 horses going two sprints to a route, I would be interested in the 6 because the trainer is 0 for 38. Yes. But it's been in the money 8 of 38 times. So there's some racing luck there involved too, where the horses are running well and just not firing enough. And that 34 workout, I mean, the 6 might be on the lead. And if there weren't 2 horses that were coming out of sprints, I'd be much more interested, but it's going to be a tall task taking this field gate to wire, which is the only way I think the 6 is able to win with both the 1 and the 3 in this spot when they're inside speed.
All right, Mike, that's going to do it for this episode of Match Mike. So we'll go ahead and give out our tickets one last time. If you are watching live or the replay on YouTube, Twitter, you're not on Facebook because for whatever reason, Facebook wouldn't let me post. So I'm really sorry if you tried watching us on Facebook. Blame Facebook for that. Take a look below. We have our tickets printed out for you. I will go ahead and give out my 50-cent ticket. Then Mike will give his 50-cent and $5 tickets. For me, I'm going to start off going 157 with 246 with 25. And then 1, 3, 4, 7, 8, 11, spreading like crazy in that last leg. That is $54 for me. Mr. Samich, your 50-cent ticket first, if you please.
For 50 cents, I'm going to play 5-7 with 2-4-6 with 3-5 with 1, 3, 7, 8, 11. That'll be $30 for 50 cents. Then I'm going to fire off a $5 ticket, go 5-7 with 2-4 with 5 with 1-7. Hopefully we can get a couple prices home around Concert Tour.
Yeah, no kidding. So, listen, this was a pretty quick show. I looked at the time, and it's 3. Like, we've been doing this for 34 minutes, Mike. This is what happens when you and I agree on a lot of stuff. But I will direct your attention over to racingnews.com right now. Well, hey, look at that. First of all, I got a preview for the Dangers Hour. Aqueduct is the first turf stakes race of the year of the meet at Aqueduct, so that's exciting. Right here, though, this is the important one. The inside track to the Arkansas Derby wagering guide is now available for sale at racingnews.com. And if you bought one of these before, you know how it goes. But just in case you don't, I'll let you know. Aaron Halterman goes through, previews, and gives picks for every single one of these races and gives you detailed information on the horses. So make sure you check that out. The 4 stakes race is real in-depth, real great stuff to tell you exactly how he thinks you should play these races. But then we cover everything else as well. Mike and I used that 11 horse in the last from Kelly Von Hemel at 15-1. I told you that, big reason I like the horse is because Aaron liked the horse. Well, if you buy the inside track to the Arkansas Derby wagering guide, you can see exactly where Aaron puts him in that race. It looks pretty wide open. Mr. Samich, with the rain going to Keeneland, are you still going to try and do the bombs there and hope for some luck?
Yeah, right now the plan is Keeneland Friday, Oaklawn and Keeneland Saturday, and then Sunday TBD. But we may or may not do Keeneland depending on if the showers come. It looks like there's about an inch to an inch and a half of rain right now between 2 and 4 o'clock. It's one of those things where just updating midday would be an absolute mess with the tournaments going on as well. So we'll see what we end up doing there, but we'll definitely have Oaklawn up for Saturday, and we'll definitely have Keeneland for Friday. Hopefully we can stay hot. Hopefully if you got the bombs today, you catch that late pick 5.
Man, that was really exciting. I'm real happy that you're able to get that one home. It's nice when you do it, like literally you did it on air, and then all right, and now we're live. That was pretty great. Blinkers Off will be on later today, probably in just another hour or so, maybe. We'll see what happens with Jared. But they are going to be covering the Oaklawn stakes races that Mike and I talked about. They're also going to be looking around the country at some of the other stuff. I know Keeneland has the Maker's Mark Mile on Friday to look forward to, and if you're interested in playing Keeneland Friday, well, you got Ricky's Rockets available for purchase. You got the Summer Bombs going to be there, the premium products. Dr. Miranda previewed the Maker's Mark Mile. That's up on the Racing Dudes YouTube page. You can check that out. You can go to the website. The video is embedded right there for you to listen to. Dr. Miranda's been killing it this year, giving out a lot of great plays, especially with the Exacta boxes that she's been giving out on the show. So give that a listen. The Maker's Mark Mile, Mike, I don't know if you had a chance to look at this because I know you got a lot of tournament stuff happening. It's a little difficult for you to look too far ahead. That Maker's Mark Mile field looks incredible. Like if we'd had more time, I would have said let's do Keeneland Friday because of that race. It looks great.
I spent probably 20 minutes alone on that race. I thought that you could go a bunch of different directions. Both makers have a shot. Both Browns have a shot. The pace setup is kind of murky. I mentioned earlier on the show, I'm looking for horses coming from off the pace on the turf course. So like horses like Some Like It Hot Brown and Flying Scotsman, both are ones that I'm not sure about because of it. It really sets up interesting for the entire field. I think I ended up on the 2-horse, the Brown entry, who has a little bit more pace, and I think will be sitting a nice trip right behind those 2 leaders. But it's a tough race. I mean, the entire Friday card is one of those where you don't have any of those really short price favorites. I think are the easy to check the box and move along.
One thing I love about the Maker's Mark Mile is you got 9 horses. 8 of them are single digits. Your favorite is 7-2, and the only horse that's a long shot is Flying Scotsman. He's 30-1, and you might go, well, this is one horse that doesn't belong. You remember the Wood Memorial last week when Calumet Farm had a homebred and said, fuck it, throw him in there. Bourbonic wins the Wood Memorial.
Yeah.
Don't discount Flying Scotsman too much here. I'm not saying I think he's got a shot to win this, but Calumet, man, they love to take shots, and this True Timber is another one that's happened this year. So they've burned us more than once.
Flying Scotsman's one we had at 15 or 16-1 going wire to wire over what was the turf course? A good Gulfstream Park turf course.
Yes, you had him. I don't want to take credit because I don't think I had him. I think just you did, but I appreciate that.
And there's a little cut in the ground at Keeneland. We had more rain during the day today. You could make an argument that Flying Scotsman's going to like that turf course. Like I said, I'm not looking for horses going to wire just because of the way the last week or so was played at Keeneland, but I could make a case for Flying Scotsman at 30-1 if someone wanted me to. I think there's a couple in there that I like a little bit more.
I also want to give a shout out to Ricky. So I didn't get a chance to watch it because we had an appointment, our weekly appointment this morning, right when Ricky's Rockets went live at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, Wednesday through Friday on the Racing Dudes YouTube channel. He had his first guest that wasn't you or I or Aaron or Jared on there, and it was Racing Rachel from Indiana Grand. I don't know if you're able to catch this. I didn't get to catch it, but I talked to Aaron afterwards and say, how'd the kid do? I didn't know. And he said he did great. Talked a lot, which is Ricky, but to have on I remember having on my first guest or just having an interview like that, it's really nerve-wracking when it's your first time doing something like that. So it sounds like he did a great job. So keep going there and watching Ricky's Rockets throughout the week, and hopefully he can keep bringing in more guests.
Yeah, the Indiana Grand, too, is one of those tracks that needs to get a little bit more love. It's one of those great midweek tracks that offers 11.99. I love that they did this to undercut the 12% pick 5 takeout. And Rachel posted earlier this morning, too, they got a drone. So it's the first one of those smaller tracks that's going to incorporate drone footage and drone shots into the racing. So that's pretty cool as well. So got to give Indiana Grand some love. They're one of those good weekday tracks to play.
They also, what was it? They just announced that they were going to do the televised stewards' explanations now for when they make calls. It's a new thing. I just saw that this morning because I was looking around for all the. I was looking to see how Ricky had done, and yeah, I saw that. So listen, I mean, if it wasn't for midweek stuff, we do need to run a lot more often on this show. We'll tell you that it's great. We'll do that much.
We get we'll sprinkle in one of those pick 5s when they get a pick 5 carryover. We got the 12% takeout, 11.99% takeout, 50-cent pick 5. We do a little bit of emergency Magic Mike pick 5 episode.
Well, and also, if you think about it, Mike, the next couple of weeks after this one, we're not going to have a whole lot to talk about other than it's 3 weeks before the Derby. Who do you like? It's 2.5 weeks before the Derby. It's 2 weeks before the Derby. It's 12 days. Like, that's going to get really fucking annoying for everybody. So I was thinking these midweek shows coming up, maybe once or twice we throw in a little midweek card, or especially if there's a carryover for one of these smaller tracks, I think would be pretty great. One last thing to do. I'm spitballing because I'm not used to being done so quickly. One last thing. Last month in March, the Racing Dudes team was doing a campaign with Manscaped, and we were all trying to see who we could get people to sign up for the Manscaped Ride the products. And we were offering, if you were one of the people who bought it and showed us that you used the Magic Mike code, we were going to let you choose what track we do, and within reason, and submit a ticket, and then we'll put that on the show, and then you can see your ticket alongside Mike and I's, and then the following Monday we'll talk about it and see who was right, and you can play against the experts. Well, Mike, March is done. We've got some names to choose from here. To make this fair, I have it between 1 and the rest of the other numbers that we have here. I will let you pick a number here, and you tell me you're going to pick who ends up being the first guest handicapper for the Magic Mike Show that's a fan. So first, give me a number between 1 and 3.
3.
Okay. Now these numbers, then everything changes here, so it's not. You could say 3 again, and it's going to be a completely different name. 3 again. Oh, I'm sorry, between 1 and 3 again.
1.
Okay, perfect. Then I will say, oh, look at that. He's not in the chat. Rats. Well, I was going to say congrats to Dr. Tang. Mike just picked you to be the first person. So, Dr. Tang, I'll reach out to you on text and let you know that you won. Congratulations. Next Thursday's show, Dr. Tang is going to be the guest handicapper ticket. So he will be able to submit his ticket. He gets to pick within reason what tracks we go to. So I know him pretty well. You do too, Mike. He picks good tracks to play at usually. So I got a feeling we might head to Keeneland.
He might have a little bigger ticket than we usually do. We might have to put him on a budget.
That's true. Yeah, that's the thing. You can't submit a $200 ticket that's just going all, and be like, I beat the experts. Yeah, no, we can't. No, he won't do that to us. Although Dr. Tang does have some pretty heavy pockets with all those tournament wins that he's been racking up in the last 6 months. So we will have to put him on a budget. All right, Michael Myers says we can share his news if we want to, if we need a filler. It wasn't my thing to say, but the best thing that I did see was news this morning that this guy Michael Myers, who is part of a longtime member of the Magic Mike Show Army, is in the Racing Dudes Fantasy League team. We love this guy. He's a great friend away from the show as well. He and his wife are expecting their first child. So we are going to have multiple Racing Dudes team babies born this year. I've got mine coming in a few weeks. There's someone else on the team. I don't know if he's made it public, so I won't say, but he's expecting it later in the fall. And then I think maybe a week or two after that one, Michael Myers. So we won't see it at the Breeders' Cup, but congratulations to you anyways, my friend. That's pretty big news.
Got to get some Magic Mike onesies going.
Boy, why is that not a thing? Why is this not a thing? Okay.
Because only 2 would be bought. That's why.
and they'd both be at my house. All right, I'm going to run to Etsy.com, see if I can find somebody who's willing to put that up. Congrats again to Michael Myers. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Make sure you tune into Blinkers Off later today, however you're listening or watching us live. Make sure you go to racing.com. Check out all the previews that are there. Ricky's Rockets will be back tomorrow morning, so check that out as well. Mike and I will be back on Monday to talk about all the racing action. Find out if we still think Concert Tour is the #1 Kentucky Derby pick after this weekend. But until then, Mike, make sure you follow us on Twitter. I'm at Chris Collard. He's at some of them 18, #1, #8 corporate overlords at racing_dudes. I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
Good luck this week.
The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.